At a haunted girls' school, a female student died but couldn't be reincarnated. Every night she walks down the hallway searching for her lost memories. This terrifies the students. Rumors quickly spread. Bong Ba, a young sorceress, takes on the task of exterminating the ghost. A fierce battle ensues, and accidentally, during the melee, both of them tumble down the stairs. Bong Pa accidentally stole the ghost girl's first kiss. The ghost girl's memories flooded back on the day of her accident, a fateful arrangement binding the two together. That night, a thief was on the run. The police were in hot pursuit, and he tripped. A student saw him and chased after him. But what Bong Pa was chasing wasn't the thief, but a ghost emitting a dark aura. When the ghost lunged to attack Bong, he coldly punched and destroyed it. The next day, while going to the toilet, a girl saw Bong Pa. He cursed for being discovered. It turned out he had the ability to see ghosts and even fought with them. He punched a female ghost so hard that her jaw was dislocated. He told himself he didn't fight girls, he fought ghosts. Bong Pa used his ghost fighting ability to make money. He received a request to eliminate a ghost and offered a price of 1 million. His goal is to earn 1 billion. Currently, he has 127 million gold in his account. At this rate, he needs another 12 years and 9 months to reach his goal. He thinks about capturing stronger ghosts and increasing the price. At university, a professor is giving a lecture on economics. He divided the students into groups to do the report. Bong Pa was in Group 5 and Group 6. He refused to cooperate with his group mates. He was considered arrogant. Meanwhile, a middle-aged man was sitting and eating. Jung Treo was once a famous exorcist, but now his time was over. Two students approached Bong Pa, who was eating alone. They said he was surrounded by darkness and had a ghost on his back. They invited him to join the Ghostnet Club. Bong Pa left without replying. The Ghostnet Club was in financial trouble and at risk of being kicked out. They decided to sell their equipment to pay the rent, and Treo Sang wanted to film a ghost movie to attract members and make money. They decided to livestream from SG Girls High School, a place with many rumors of ghosts. Treo Sang, a former Marine, reassured his friend that everything would be all right. He took tranquilizers. They started live streaming. They introduced SJ High School and said that 7 people fainted after seeing ghosts there. They walked down the hallway and to the lab. Where ghosts often appear, they were startled by a bottle of cleaning solution. They continued upstairs. Bong Pa was at home. Monk Jung Treo came to visit Bong Pa. He scolded Bong Pa for not fixing the doorbell. Jung Treo said he was going on a business trip. He gave Bong Pa an envelope sent by his father. He told Bong Pa to stay away from evil spirits so he could have a normal life. But Bong Pa didn't care. At this moment, a customer texted Bong Pa and asked if he could exorcise a high school girl ghost. Bong Pa agreed for 1 million W. The customer offered 10 million if he did it immediately, so Bong Pa immediately set off for the high school. At the high school, Treo Sang and his team are live streaming in the restroom, a place where ghosts are said to appear. They find another bottle of cleaning solution. Suddenly, the door opens, and a black cat jumps out, scaring Treo Sang and his teammate half to death. Meanwhile, Bong Pa has arrived at the school gate. He can't find his client anywhere, so he sneaked into the school. Suddenly, Bong Pa saw a female ghost. When he turned his back, a ghost appeared. It was the female ghost who had hired Bong Pa to exorcise her. Bong Pa attacked her. She said that he had beaten a girl. Bong Pa showed no mercy. She said that she had heart disease and died because of it. Bong Pa anxiously bent down. At that moment, Hein Di attacked him. Bong Pa was beaten until his nose was crooked. The ghost warned him not to come back. Hein what? The female ghost returned to the side of an elderly woman. She said that she had fought with a strange person. We asked her how long she intended to follow the other person. Zhang Jia said that she had counted his hair but he still didn't die. Yang ya asket hui obauskun. We said that he needed to go back tomorrow. The woman hoped Hui Di would soon find what she was looking for. Hui Di asked why she still couldn't find peace. Rang Jia suggested that Hui Di might be suffering from a severe case and feeling resentment. Hui doesn't remember how she died and doesn't even know who her parents are. She only knows her name is Kim Hui but isn't sure if that's her real name. The woman advised her to take the exam to regain her memory. The next day, Bong Pa was having breakfast with a monk. Zhang Creo advised him to be careful and said that women's resentment is very scary. Bong Pa asked about the female ghost's weakness. The monk took Bong Pa to a place to learn how to see the weaknesses of ghosts. The monk showed Bong Pa items that could help him. Bong Pa saw an old ghost, but the monk did not see it. Bong Pa, frustrated, left first, leaving the monk being tormented by the ghost, while the guy hanging over went crazy because Sadako kept calling him. He decided to go back to high school and livestream until the ghost appeared. Bong Pa arrived at S High School. He met Hui again. This time Bong Pa had prepared a magical weapon. It was a large sword, but Hui was not afraid at all. She treated Bong Pa like a joke, then beat him up badly. Bong Pa felt insulted. He fought back and knocked Heinji down. Accidentally, they both rolled down the stairs, their lips touching, making both of them blush. Suddenly, Heinji remembered the moment when she was close to death. Seeing Heinji looking bewildered, Bong Ba asked if this was her first kiss. Hui went berserk and kicked, shattering Bong Ba's tea set. Meanwhile, Treo Sang and his teammates were in a dark room. They were looking at a list of people who had died in the school. They were terrified. Treo Sang took tranquilizers. A ghost appeared. It was the English teacher who had died 18 years ago. Treo Sang ran away. Bong Pa saw the two people running past and immediately sped up. When he entered the elevator, an arm appeared and lifted Bong Pa up. The whole group looked fearfully at the ghost in front of them. Bong Pa threw punches and sent the ghost flying. Before the elevator doors closed, he saw Heinji hiding in fear in the classroom. All three escaped outside, and at this time, hanging over, they recounted. That ghost was that of a corrupt teacher when the ghost tried to kill him. Hui. Bong Pa rushed in to help, and he was beaten by the ghost until he knelt and begged for mercy. Hui was annoyed to see that, so he ran to join in, and suddenly she saw a bright light behind the ghost's head. Hui ordered him to hit the ghost teacher in the back of the head. The ghost was destroyed. The two successfully eliminated it. Then Hui asked his name. He replied that he was Bong Ba, but she disliked that name. She asked him who he would get the money from. Bong Pa suspected she was the customer. Bong Pa demanded that Heinji pay 10 million W. She refused. He said that they had both caught the ghost together. She thought he was too weak. He got angry and told her to leave. Hui returns to the elderly woman's side. Hui says that he touched something and memories flooded back. She can't remember them. The woman advises her to touch the thing again. The police are investigating Bong Pa. They found a secretly filmed video of the women's restroom and a large sum of money. Bong Pa says that he is not the one who secretly filmed it. The police called the monk. He said that Bong Pa was practicing exorcism. The monk went to the police station and scolded Bong Pa for not listening to him. At the university, a student found a dog stuck in the sewer, and a young professor came to help. Although the professor was bitten by the dog, he still cheerfully held it in his arms. Heinji was impressed by the professor's kindness, but as she left, the professor's gaze shifted to where she had been standing. Heinji was searching for information about Bong Pa. She found his address. We went to Bong Pa's house. Bong Pa recalled memories of his mother and his lonely childhood. At that moment, a ghost appeared and pushed Bong Pa's mother down. He painfully witnessed his mother's death. During his mother's funeral, Bong Pa saw things he shouldn't have seen. Because of seeing these strange things, Bong Pa was always isolated by his friends. Heinji was still waiting for Bong Pa in front of the house. She scolded him for making her wait so long. She wanted to check something and ask him to stand still. Heinji flies in front of Bong Ba just as she is about to kiss Bong Ba. He pushes Hui away. He refuses. She says she is older than him because she has been dead for 5 years. He chases her away. Bong Ba realizes he forgot his keys. Hui appears and teases him. He chases her away. Hui wants him to help him. He refuses and mentions that other ghosts have also pursued him. Hui begs him to help one more time. He still refuses. Bong Pa demanded 10 million but Hui didn't pay. So she decided to cling to Bong Pa, and Sang and Injang watched the video of Bong Pa fighting with Ma. They confirmed that he could see Ma, and Sang explained about Ma back, a phenomenon that causes people to see ghosts when they are too scared. He confirmed that Bong Pa didn't see ghosts through Ma back, so they decided to invite him to join the club. At the university, Bong Pa ate alone. Hui appeared and demanded to eat his egg roll. He was annoyed because she kept forgetting that he was a ghost. Hui explained that ghosts can only eat food prepared by living people during religious ceremonies. At this moment, Treo Sang and Injang came to invite Bong Pa to join the club, but Bong Pa refused. During a lecture, Professor Hai Sung replaced the previous professor who had suddenly resigned. The professor attracted the attention of many female students, including Seo Rio, whom Bong Pa secretly admired. Heinji was jealous when she saw Bong Pa approaching Seo, and Bong Pa asked Heinji to stay away from her. A loud noise made everyone turn to look. Bong Pa quickly apologized to the professor and continued studying. Treo Sang and Injang were worried because ghostness ranking had dropped. They were at risk of being evicted from their dorm room. They decided they had to convince Bong Pa to join at all costs. At the end of the class, Professor Hai Sung asked Seo Rio to be the class representative. Seeing this as a good opportunity, Hui Jie replaced Bong Pa and raised her hand. She facilitated the two getting acquainted. Hui continued to pursue Bong Pa. She teased Bong Pa for exercising too hard, and because she knew how to teleport, Bong Pa couldn't catch her. The next day, Zhang Creo heard a story about a haunted inn called Gampo. Upon arriving at the inn, Zhang Treo sensed a strange energy in the room. He said that a female ghost was there, but as soon as he drew his sword, the ghost dragged him inside. At the veterinary clinic, Professor Hai Dung was teased by his colleagues for his fondness for caring for animals. On the outside, he's a gentle professor, but when he's alone, the scar on his back is visible, and his eyes have changed. Since they met, Hui Di has been asking Bong Pa to buy her food. She told him about having to eat sacrificial offerings and being bitten by a dog. Bong Pa showed no pity for her. Just then, the monk Rang Treo returned. As soon as he entered, he sensed a strange energy. Outside, Hui Di was angry while the monk was eating his dinner. The monk advised Bong Pa to stop treating the dog. Bong Pa disagreed and asked for money from him. The monk refused, and seeing Hui Di complaining, Bong Pa decided to cook a portion for her. That evening, while passing by the professor's veterinary clinic, Seo Rio noticed the dog that the professor had rescued. The professor asks Seo Rio to keep his secret. Meanwhile, Hui Di is watching Bong Pa, wanting to check if he likes her. When Hui mustered up the courage to kiss him, the sudden sound of the monk startled her. At that moment, Bong Pa opened his eyes. What was she trying to do to him? He angrily chased Hui out of the house. Bong Pa didn't read his father's letter. He threw it away. Jin Zio was angry and went to the garbage dump to look for the letter. Jin Zio was suspected of theft by a woman. The woman said that no one lived in apartment 402. Hui Di met Bong Pa on the way to school. She teased him. Bong Pa was annoyed that Hui Di kept bothering him. At this moment, Bong Pa receives a call and makes an appointment with someone. Bong Pa goes to work. Hein Di follows him.
Bong Pa arrives at Gampo Inn.
Bong Pa talks to the innkeeper and checks room number 1. Suddenly, Hui senses a strange energy. She follows it to investigate. Meanwhile, Treo Sang and Injang are watching Bong Pa. They decide to take tranquilizers before entering the inn. Bong Pa begins exorcising the ghost, and Treo Sang and Injang broadcast live. Bong Pa fights the ghost. When Bong Pa turned around, a spirit pulled him into the closet. But it didn't harm him. It only wanted Bong Pa to leave before the other ghost returned. At this moment, Bong Pa heard a scream. It was Huin Dai's voice. He immediately kicked open the door and rushed out to save her. This time the opponent was a tall man. Bong Pa was lifted high into the air by it. When Bong Pa was about to die, Hui Di came to help him. She saw the ghost's fatal weakness, which was the wound that had killed him. Hein Jie signaled Bong Pa to strike the weak point. He delivered a precise kick, sending the ghost back to where he belonged. Bong Pa asked Hein Di how to find the ghost's weakness. Bong Pa wants Hui Di to teach her.
Hui Di refuses.
Bong Pa asks why Hui Di is following her. Bong Pa suspects Hui Di has feelings for her. Hui Di denies it, saying she has amnesia. And Hui Di's memories only come back when she kisses Bong Pa. That's why she clings to him. As soon as she finished speaking, Bong Pa approached and gave Hui Di the kiss she had longed for. Hui Di was stunned by Bong Pa's unexpected kiss, but this time she couldn't remember anything. Bong Pa asked if she could cooperate with him in catching ghosts. Hui Di ran away after Bong Pa mentioned fulfilling the promise. He was annoyed by the fire. Hui wandered alone. At the university, an older woman was searching for her lover. That's the ghost of Zhang Jia. Zhang Jia saw Hui and asked her where she was going. Zhang Jia said she was looking for her honey, the person she had found after 30 years. She described Honey as a tall, slender man with rosy skin and puppy eyes. She asked Hui if she believed that Bong Pa's lips were soft and smooth. She advised Hui to cling to Bong Pa. Hui decided to go back and follow Bong Pa. Bong Pa was still angry after being tricked by Hui. Why did he believe a ghost? Even though he chased him away, Hui shamelessly followed him. Meanwhile, the goddess in Bong Pa's heart went to see the professor and asked to adopt the dog that Professor Hai Sung had saved. The professor agreed and asked her to come after class. From afar, Bong Pa saw everything. The way Bong Pa looked at Seo Rio made Hui jealous. She deliberately tried to attract Bong Pa's attention. However, this made Bong Pa act strangely. Hein Di prevented Bong Pa from meeting the other student. Hui offered to help Bong Pa exorcise the evil spirit. Bong Pa didn't believe her. Hui Di offered to help him prepare for the university entrance exam. Hui Di promised to pay 10 million gold debt, and the agreement was established. Hui Di wanted Bong Pa to buy her a toothbrush. Hui Di wanted to move in with him.
Bong Pa disagreed.
Finally, Bong Pa agreed to reduce her wages by 250,000 gold per job if Hui lived with her. Hui Di wanted Bong Pa to buy her meat.
Bong Pa disagreed.
Finally, he agreed to buy meat when someone saw him. Hui was happy that his meal was served. On the way home, Hui Di wanted Bong Pa to buy her a dress to celebrate their collaboration. Hui tried the dress on for Bong Pa to see. He was instantly captivated by her. However, this time Bong Pa refused. Meanwhile, at the Sanma club, Treo Sang was still angry with Sadako. Treo Sang wanted to teach Sadako a lesson. In Jiang advised him to study and win a scholarship. But it was too late. News reported the death of idol singer Miss. She was said to have committed suicide and filmed it. At Sadako's house, the lights suddenly went out, followed by a video of the idol dying. Sadako was terrified. Suddenly, a hand appeared from under the bed. Sadako screamed loudly when she saw the evil spirit of her idol come to life. The loud scream echoed in the dark space. At the same time, Bong Pa returned home. Hein Di asked Bong Pa to buy her a new dress. Bong Pa refused. He said that the ghost woman's clothes were even dirtier. Hein Di said that she had never received a gift since she died. Bong Pa gave her a toothbrush. This made Hui Di visibly happy. Watching Bong Pa cook the meat, Hui Di eagerly awaited dinner. Just then, the monk Jiang came to visit. He was surprised to find his sacred treasure at Bong Pa's house. Hadn't he lost it already? But the aroma of the meat attracted the monk's attention. Hui was angry that the old man had eaten all the food Bong Pa had cooked for him. Bong Pa apologized to Hui when the meat ran out. Hein Di tried to suppress her anger. Just then, the old man brought out the new toothbrush he had bought for Hui. And then he started hitting him. Hein Di screamed when she saw her favorite item being used by the old man. That night she prayed the old man would fall to the ground. No sooner had she finished speaking than he immediately fell with a thud.
Hui Di left satisfied.
Because they lived together, Hein Di slept on Bong Pa's bed. Suddenly, he turned around. Hein Di blushed, remembering his kiss with Bong Pa. When Hui fell asleep, Bong Pa suddenly woke up. He gave her the blanket and bed. Bong Pa slept on the floor. A new day began, and the monk reprimanded Bong Pa. He warned him not to perform exorcisms, especially female ghosts. After the monk left, Hui and Bong Pa argued about dividing the wages. Finally, Bong Pa had to reduce the wages to 200,000 W per case. Because raising Haiji was very expensive, he went to Sadako's address to confront her. But when he opened the door and stepped inside, he was terrified to see that Sadako was dead. The police immediately sealed off the scene. Sadako was an anti-fan who always wrote venomous comments about the recently deceased female idol. The police said Sadako and the leader of the anti-Miss group died. Both had broken fingers. The police suspect Miss cursed them. News reports about Miss's suicide video being spread online. Trao Sang fears that he will be cursed for writing malicious comments about Miss. The next day, Hui Di goes to Bong Pa's university. She wants to enjoy university life.
Bong Pa chase Hui away.
After school, the two meet Seo Rio. Hein Jae is jealous and teases Bong Pa. Meanwhile, Professor Hai Sung discovered a female student feeding a stray cat. The professor told her that feeding animals was not allowed here. However, he still guided her and checked on the cat's condition. Suddenly, the cat scratched the professor, drawing blood. The professor's eyes turned angry. At the same time, the monk with the missing teeth was reciting scriptures in the restroom. Because he didn't know them by heart, he secretly recorded them and played them back. At that moment, someone called the monk and asked him to find out about Bong Pa's father. In Jiang found Bong Pa and asked him to save Treo Sang. Treo Sang was being possessed by a ghost. That ghost was Miss, and it wanted to take down all the people who had written malicious comments about her. The next target was Treo Sang. He was terrified when he saw the ghost of his idol appear. Just as the female ghost was about to break Treo Sang's finger, Hui Di appeared and kicked the ghost away. Hui begged the ghost to stop, but the ghost only wanted everyone to love her. Why do they hate me? At this moment, Bong Pa kicked the door open and rushed in, but he was also knocked away by the ghost. Hein Di pinned the ghost down. It was the ghost who hated herself the most. This made the ghost furious, and she grabbed Hein Di's neck. Bong Pa woke up, threw away the ghost woman, and safe Hui facing herself in the mirror. The ghost woman realized her ugly appearance. Her soul gradually faded into dust. After finishing the task, Hui Di could not teleport. She felt tired.
Bong Pa bao good meat for Hui Di.
Hui Di's mood brightened.
When Bong Pa returned, she had fallen asleep. He went to the rooftop and burned a dress for Hui. Hui felt the new dress appear. She smiled when Bong Pa gave it to her, and immediately ran to him. Her beautiful face made him feel emotional again. Hui had barely worn his new dress for 5 minutes when Bong Pa dragged him to work to pay off the debt. Hui was annoyed but still followed. At the 24-hour sauna, Bong Pa received a work call. A ghost had haunted the sauna. Hui was annoyed at having to work late. Bong Pa promised to tutor her after work.
Hui Di saga.
The next day, Hui accidentally saw Bong Pa changing. She felt Bong Pa was dressed up more than usual. She was definitely going to meet the goddess. Bong Pa forbade Hui from following her and from rummaging around the house. But Hui Di still insisted on following. Hui wore a new dress to school. Rang complimented her on how beautiful she was. She thought Bong Pa liked Hui. Hein Jie didn't believe it. She said Bong Pa liked someone else. Bong Pa helped Seo Rio carry documents, making Hui Di jealous. Meanwhile, Professor Hai Sung avoided Rio when she asked about the injury caused by the spasm. When Hein Dien came to examine it closely, she felt that the professor seemed to be able to see her. She told Bong Pa about this suspicion, but he thought it was unreasonable. After the exorcism, Treo Sang thanked Bong Pa. Bong Pa demanded payment. Treo Sang was surprised that he charged him as well. Bong Pa didn't care and asked him to transfer the money to his account. The housing agency came to collect rent. Treo Sang and In Zhang evaded them. The maintenance staff arrived to announce the maintenance bill for the broken door. Treo Sang and In Zhang were desperate because they had no money. Treo Sang and In Zhang avoided their creditors. Meanwhile, Seo Rio came to deliver homework to the absent female student. It turned out that last night she had seen the professor drop the cat, Hoang. This frightened the female student. She didn't know that Professor Hyung had realized he was being followed. He just smiled and left without realizing he had dropped his pen. Unexpectedly, Seo Rio picked up the pen. A student named Hui had dropped it. The professor was surprised to find the pen there. Now he had identified his target. Hui Di had to take a proficiency test. She did very badly. Bong Ba mocked her. Hui Di was angry. The nun went to see a doctor and complained about her condition. The doctor said that the nun's condition was not good. Not to mention that recently a young man came to inquire about Bong Ba's father. Hui wanted to study math. Bong Ba made her do homework. Hui made up an excuse about a stomachache to avoid it. Treo Sang and In Zhang found a cheap sauna. They decided to stay there overnight. Bong Pa texted demanding money. Treo Sang and In Zhang didn't reply. A while later, Treo Sang and In Zhang discovered that the sauna where they slept was haunted. The next morning, Hui woke up and explored the storage room. Out of curiosity, Hui Jie accidentally took out his mother's high-heeled shoes. This angered Bong Pa. He immediately threw it into the box, then yelled at Hui. He chased Hui out of the house, which disappointed her. Bong Pa ignored Hui, then went to school. As soon as he arrived at school, he chased after the two debt collectors, saying he needed time. They decided to impersonate exorcists and then earn money to pay off their debt. That evening, Bong Pa returned home. He had bought a lot of delicious meat to appease Hui, but she was still angry about his loud argument that morning. Hui's mouth watered when she saw Bong Pa cooking, but she still had to maintain her composure. She only ate after Bong Pa had left. Just then, Bong Pa received a call. Sang Krio and In Zhang had called him out to talk. They wanted to cooperate with Bong Pa. The two of them would go find customers, while Bong Pa would just focus on dealing with the ghosts. At this moment, Hein Di tasted the cup of beer. Despite Bong Pa's attempts to stop him, Hui Di gulped it down in one go. After agreeing, the two of them led Bong Pa to the sauna room. The spirit there was a eunuch who specialized in stalking women. They didn't expect that this time the target of this guy was the sleeping Hui Di. She screamed loudly, and Bong Pa rushed to her side. Facing the ghost of the demon, he lifted and captured Hui Di with his strength. Bong Pa was beaten badly. Hui couldn't bear it anymore. She rushed forward but was lifted up by the ghost. Hein Di sprayed water directly in the ghost's face, giving Bong Pa a chance to jump forward and attack. At this moment, Hein Di saw the ghost's weak point, and she instructed Bong Pa to attack strongly in the chest. The ghost vanished into thin air before Hein Di collapsed. After exorcising the ghost, Hein Di was slightly drunk, and she lamented about being a ghost and being unable to do things that humans could do. Bong Pa comforted her, and he carried her home. Meanwhile, Professor Hai Sung had found Hui. He was waiting for her in the alley. Hui tried to remain calm until the professor took out a pen. Then he laughed and approached Hui. She was frightened and tried to run away, but she couldn't escape the professor's grasp. Bong Pa carried Hui home drunk. He complained about her being too heavy. The next morning, Hui Jie had a headache and nausea. Bong Pa made bean sprout soup to soothe her. He received a message about receiving his wages. Hui wondered about the large amount of money in Bong Pa's account. She suggested he earned money easily thanks to his ability to see ghosts.
Bong Pa disagreed.
Bong Pa took the bus to school. Hui followed him. On the bus, Hui helped Bong Pa find a seat. When they arrived at school, Treo Sang and In Jung approached Bong Pa and invited him to join the club. Bong Pa initially refused, but after hearing about the benefits he would receive and Seo Rio's participation, Bong Pa decided to join. At university, the professor praised Bong Pa's report, while other students discussed strange rumors surrounding Bong Pa. They claimed he brought bad luck. Bong Pa and Seo Rio prepared for class together. When Huyo was called for roll call, the professor still seemed surprised by his absence, even though he was the one who had failed her. After class, the professor invited Bong Pa and Seo Rio to eat. Hui was annoyed when Bong Pa pushed him aside to make room for Seo Rio. During the meal, the professor asked Bong Pa about his family. Bong Pa said he lived nearby, but when asked about his parents, Bong Pa said they lived far away. Hein Di was jealous seeing Bong Pa and Seo Rio happily together.
Hui accidentally la stumbel.
Luckily, Bong Pa ran to catch her. Hui Dai's heart fluttered once again. Hui continued to tease Bong Pa, which was the most fun for her. That evening, when they returned home, Bong Pa continued to tutor Hui. He kindly explained the math formulas to her, but Hui's mind was preoccupied with him. Bong Pa didn't know that Professor Hai Sung was searching for clues about Bong Pa's family, especially his missing father. After the lesson, Hui went into the room to play with Bong Pa. It was then that she realized those shoes belonged to his mother.
Hui apologized for accidentally la tao ching Bong Ba's gipsack.
The next day, Treo Sang and In Jung told Bong Pa about a new incident at an old apartment building. The tenants heard strange noises in the apartment upstairs. When they went to check, they were terrified to see a child's ghost residing there. The chairman of the apartment complex promised to pay them 5 million. Bong Pa agreed to go to work. At the apartment complex, Bong Pa met a mentally ill girl being dragged away by her mother. The mother warned the girl not to go there again. Meanwhile, the monk was writing amulets for a client. She remembered Bong Pa coming to her to ask for amulets. She heard that Bong Pa, also known as Master Bong Pa, had exorcised ghosts from haunted boarding houses. This angered the monk. Bong Pa went to the haunted apartment. He saw a child hiding in the wardrobe. He chased after the child. When Bong Pa caught the child, he noticed strange bruises on the boy's body. At that moment, a sound frightened the child, causing him to run away. We realized that an evil aura was emanating from it. Both of them carefully checked again. When Bong Pa threw a punch, he was frightened and managed to block it. For now, everything stopped, and Bong Pa returned home. He was still worried about the child's ghost. So, Bong Pa looked up the old case at the apartment building. Previously, a drunken father had accidentally killed his child. This shock drove the mother insane, and the child's ghost could never find peace. Bong Pa was uneasy, so he went back there. Hui, curious, followed him. At this moment, a drunken ghost was searching for the boy. The child cried and begged his father not to hit him. At that moment, Bong Pa appeared, punched the drunken ghost away, and then used his body to shield the boy. Hein Di rushed to help him. She had seen the ghost's weakness. His past was revealed. His wife, after witnessing his crimes, had unintentionally caused him to vomit. Unlike before, Bong Pa struck harder this time. He remembered the demon that had killed his mother, each punch filled with extreme anger. After dealing with the ghost, the two of them took the child to see his mother. The mother hugged her child and apologized. Bong Pa was moved by this scene. We noticed Bong Pa's unusual behavior. She followed him home. As he passed the shop, the monk called Bong Pa over. The monk advised Bong Pa to stop performing exorcism. He feared for Bong Pa's safety.
Bong Pa disagreed.
He regretted his past mistakes. But Bong Pa didn't blame him. Thanks to him, Bong Pa was still alive. That night, Bong Pa had a nightmare. Memories of his childhood when he was ostracized by his friends, simply because he saw ghosts. We witnessed Bong Pa's tears rolling down his cheeks. She gently covered his eyes. The next day, while hiking, a local resident accidentally discovered the body of the female student. The victim had been struck by a gust of wind. He had burned everything related to the victim, erasing all traces. Bong Pa woke up in a daze, surprised to find Hein Di holding his hand tightly. It turned out that she had been by Bong Pa's side all night taking care of him. At this moment, Hein Di woke up. Both of them awkwardly let go of each other's hands. Bong Pa frowned when Hein Di entered his room without permission. She apologized, saying she didn't mean to. Hein Di asked Bong Pa where she was going dressed so nicely. He told her not to follow him. Hein Di knew he was deliberately leaving her behind and decided to follow him. Today is the anniversary of the death of Zhang Hai, Bong Pa's mother. The monk prayed for her soul to find peace. He noticed Bong Pa's unusual mood. The monk asked Bong Pa if she hadn't received any news from her father. But Bong Pa didn't seem to care. On the bus ride home, we looked at Bong Pa's sad face. Hein Jie tries to make Bong Pa laugh with silly riddles, making Bong Pa burst out laughing. At university, Treo Sang and Injang are happy to have recruited 2 new members to the club. They announce the GhostNet has been disbanded. Treo Sang, not giving up, presents a form requesting the establishment of a new club with the manager's signature. The new club name is Sandy Sub. Treo Sang and Injang hugged each other in joy. They would never lose this club again. We wanted to go on a picnic, but Bong Pa refused because they needed to study for the final exam. We complained, saying he needed to rest to study better. Suddenly, Bong Pa picked up a flower petal that had fallen on Hui's hair. This made Hein Di blush, making Bong Pa anxious. She avoided his question, not wanting to admit the strange feelings rising in her heart. Hui met Rang Jia, who was still searching for her lover. She confessed that her heart raced whenever she saw Bong Pa and she felt anxious. Rang concluded that Hui liked Bong Pa. Hui vehemently denies it. Treo Sang and Injang eagerly plan a trip to celebrate the new club and new members. They are determined to get Bong Pa to join. Treo Sang and Injang approach Silo. Van begged to join their trip. They wanted more people, and Seo Rio was key to convincing Bong Pa. When Bong Pa heard Seo's name, her expression changed. Despite Hui Jie's objections, Bong Pa decided to join. Hui was angry that Bong Pa changed her mind because of Seo Rio. She was annoyed that Bong Pa didn't care about her. On the way to the campsite, Injang mentioned that the resort belonged to his family. Injang fell while trying to carry things, and he claimed to have seen an angel hanging over him, suspecting Injang had a head injury. Injang swore he saw a real angel, a beautiful angel. He remembered he forgot his ramen. He suggested Bong Pa and Seo Rio go by some. He hoped the two of them would have some private time together. This annoyed Hein Di. She tried to hold Bong Pa back, but he completely ignored her. On the way back, Bong Pa saw Hein Di sitting sadly by the deep lake. She didn't know that an evil spirit was watching from beneath the lake. Bong Pa walked over and gave Hein Di an ice cream. This made her feel a little happy. The two returned to the party, and Hui Di happily enjoyed the plate of meat that Bong Pa had served her. But when she saw her senior serving sausage to Bong Pa, Hui Di became angry, especially when the other two kept trying to ship Bong Pa and Seo Rio.
Hui Ji angrily tried to tease Bong Pa.
After eating, everyone went to the lake nearby to play. Hui Di happily watched everyone playing. A feeling of sadness suddenly crept into her heart. They didn't know that this was a forbidden lake. The evening party took place. Everyone happily sat down together and talked. Hein Di excitedly sat next to Bong Pa. She also wanted to participate, but no one could see her. Hein Di sat sadly in a corner, drunk. Suddenly, Injang saw Hein Jie. He excitedly shouted, "An angel!" Then came the truth and dare game. Seo Rio said she already had someone she liked. This disappointed Bong Pa. The atmosphere became awkward. Seo Rio asked Bong Pa if she liked anyone. Bong Pa didn't answer, but just drank more. The party ended. A new day began. As Seo Rio was sitting by the lake, an evil spirit suddenly pulled her down. Hein Jie, sitting next to her, didn't know how to save her. Just then, Bong Pa passed by, quickly pushed Hui aside, and then pulled Seo Rio out of the water.
Bong Pa sút pet Hui pu set Sao Rao.
He is angry with her, but Hui denies causing the accident. At the grocery store, locals warn Bong Pa about the stream behind the resort. They say there's a water ghost there and many people have died there. At this point, Bong Pa realizes she wrongly suspected Hui. He rushed to the lake where Hein Di was sitting. But it was too late. Hein Jie was dragged into the lake by the evil spirit, and she struggled, unable to call for help. At that moment, Bong Pa jumped in and tried to swim towards Hui. Bong Pa used his strength to kick the evil spirit under the lake to save Hui. Immediately, he was locked down by the evil spirit. Bong Pa angrily struck the evil spirit, causing it to disappear, then swam to Hui and pulled her up. Hui woke up, feeling very scared, bursting into tears and hugging Bong Pa tightly. He apologized to Hui and comforted her. A new day began. Hui dreamed that she was hit by a car at an intersection. These were memories she had lost for a long time. Bong Pa, curious, went to check on Hui. He gently woke her up. Hui said she didn't feel well. At that moment, Bong Pa received a phone call from Seo. Today they had a study group meeting, but Bong Pa refused Seo. He wanted to stay home and take care of Hui. Bong Pa carried Hui into his room to rest. While Hui was resting, Bong Pa showed off his cooking skills. He decided to cook porridge for Hui Jie. Bong Pa was worried because Hui Di was still unconscious. After a while, Hui woke up. She was surprised to find herself in Bong Pa's room. He said he would go reheat the porridge for her. Hein Di felt happy that Bong Pa had come to her. She thanked Bong Pa for the meal. Suddenly, Hein Di asked Bong Pa, "Aren't you going to school?" Bong Pa said he was just a little tired. He wondered if ghosts could get sick too. Hein Di blurted out that she could feel his heartbeat. She recounted the strange dream she had last night to Bong Ba. Meanwhile, the monk Rang Treo was hurrying to Bong Ba's father's residence. He had a bad feeling. Last night, on his way home to Bong Pa, he had met Professor Hai Sung by chance, and a familiar chill made the monk uneasy. Upon arriving, the monk was astonished to find many talismans pasted inside the room. The homeowner recounted that a young man had come looking for Bong Ba's father. When the father heard that his son had come looking for him, his face turned fearful. He immediately ran away behind the mountain. The monk immediately set out to investigate. Following the tracks, he discovered many broken branches. The monk saw blood on the ground and had a premonition that something bad had happened. Clearly, Bong Pa's father had been chased by something. The monk tried to contact someone, but no one answered. He didn't know that Bong Pa's father had been attacked by H. Bong Pa received a message from the sect leader arranging a meeting. They had a final discussion today. Hui was jealous when he saw Bong Pa with Seo Rio. The sect leader offered to have lunch with Bong Pa. He turned to apologize to Hui Di and agreed, but at this moment, Dia saw Professor Hai Sung. She quickly abandoned Bong Pa and ran to the professor. This made Bong Pa feel a little disappointed. At this moment, the two police officers came looking for Professor Hai Sung. They had visited Hai Sung once before. Seo was shocked that Hui was dead. She recalled her friend's strange behavior and said that she had found Professor Hai Sung's fountain pen. The clues gradually connected, and the police suspected Hai Sung was the culprit. Meanwhile, Injiang and Treo Sang went to meet the investor. That person was none other than Injiang's grandmother. She loved him very much, but when she saw Treo Sang, she scolded her grandson for going with that boy. Both of them were treated to a lavish feast by her. She asked Treo Sang what he needed. Treo Sang said he was planning to start a company but was short of capital. Treo Sang presented his company plan, but when she heard it was an exorcism company, Injiang's grandmother chased Treo Sang away. A new day began. Hui watched Bong Pa studying. He was surprised that she kept staring at him like that. Hein Di took out a photo from their outing to look at. She playfully drew on the picture. Just then, Bong Pa turned around. He felt that Hui wasn't concentrating on her studies at all. Her grades weren't improving. Bong Pa said that if she scored 80 points on the next test, he would grant Hui Di one request. She eagerly started studying. On the way home, Hui encountered someone standing and reciting something. Suddenly, the female student looked directly at Hui, startling her. That evening, Hui focused on studying. This surprised Bong Pa. He encouraged her to try harder. Contrary to Hui Di's spirit, the female student was under immense academic pressure that morning, especially from her mother's expectations. This pressure led Yuan Zeng to have suicidal thoughts and go to the rooftop. By the time she calmed down, it was too late. An evil spirit has possessed her body. Since then, Anung's attitude has completely changed. She started tearing up all her books, terrifying her mother. The next day, the exorcism team received a request. To look professional, they called Bong Pa to buy uniforms. Hui was excited to see Bong Pa in the uniform. The team was complete, And this time the client was Yuan Sung's mother. She felt her daughter had changed so much, like a different person, completely disregarding her mother's words. From a girl who only knew how to study, Anung had become depraved. After assessing the situation, Bong Pa entered the room to check on Yuan Sung. She sensed Hein Di standing beside her. Bong Pa realized Anung had been possessed by an evil spirit. To save Yuan Sung, they needed to expel the evil spirit. But this time, the evil spirit was very strong. The evil spirit easily knocked down Bong Pa and Hui Di. Both had to be careful to avoid injuring Yuan Sung. Yuan Sung immediately ran outside. Bong Pa chased the evil spirit up to the rooftop. At this time, Yuan Sung was standing at the edge of the railing. Just as Yuan Sung was about to step down, Hui Di shouted, asking what she was doing. She didn't want Yuan Sung to die either. Just as Yuan Sung was about to step down, Hui Di saved her. But it was just a trap. The evil spirit immediately revealed its true form. Bong Pa and Hui were no match for it. Both were beaten badly. Just as Bong Pa was locked up, her mother appeared, shouting loudly. She apologized to Anung for forcing her to study. This pressure had driven her to this point. She begged Yuan Sung to stop. Thanks to her mother's call, the evil spirit was pushed away from Yuan Sung. Only then could Bong Pa focus his strength on fighting seriously. He delivered a powerful hook to the jaw, causing the evil spirit to vanish. At this moment, Anung woke up, sobbing uncontrollably in her mother's arms. On the way back, Hui said that he recognized the woman in his dream. It seems that's Hui's mother. Hui tried to hide his sadness and continued walking. The test was tonight. Hui started working on the test. She focused on completing each question. When Bong Pa finished grading, Hui Di was overjoyed to get 82 points. She hugged the exam paper to her chest, then told Bong Ba her wish. She wanted to go to an amusement park. Bong Ba smiled and agreed. At the same time, the crime scene camera was found. But at the crucial moment, the camera was blurry. The police didn't know who the culprit was.
Min vi hin, yang ya avit at hi shungsh kalini.
She curiously opened the drawer and found the female student's ID card had fallen out. Hai Sung coldly closed the drawer, then turned and looked directly at Jiang Jia. He asked Jiang Jia what she had seen. Before she could react, the professor had already knocked Jiang Jia to death. Today was exam day, and Bong Pa promised to take Hein Di to the park after the exam. She happily admired herself in the mirror. She waited for Bong Pa in front of the park, but he still hadn't appeared. It turned out that Bong Pa had met Seo Rio on the way. She was accidentally hit by a car, so Bong Pa had to take Seo Rio to the hospital. Even when it was dark, Hui Di still hadn't seen Bong Pa arrive. She sadly watched the park close. At the hospital, Bong Pa was taking care of Seo, who had just had a minor accident that injured her arm. When her work at the hospital was finished, Bong Pa rushed to the meeting point, but it was already late and the park was starting to close, and Hot Hai searched for the little girl's figure in vain, fearing that he had hurt her with this delay. When he found Hui Di, she tried to act nonchalant and lied that she had just arrived and left immediately to hide her disappointment and the agonizing wait of many hours. In another development, Master Zhang Treo went to the police station to report the disappearance of a 44-year-old man named Jahoon, who lived in a guest house in Izu village. He claimed to have seen fresh red bloodstains scattered on rocks in the mountains, a sign that something bad had happened. However, the indifferent and irresponsible attitude of the police officers infuriated him. They dismissed it as baseless speculation and asked him to fill out a report. Instead of immediately organizing a search at the scene, Hyung's cruelty became more apparent. He had murdered Bong Ba's father in search of a mysterious item. Hai Dung did not hesitate to use the lives of others to pressure and force the other party to reveal the truth. He blamed the victims, saying that their silence had led to the tragic deaths earlier. Hai Dung threatened that if they did not reveal Bong Pa's name, they would die. The next morning, the atmosphere at Bong Pa's house became suffocating. Hein Di decided not to go to school with him. She acted distant and stubborn, making Bong Pa feel empty, even though he kept saying that her absence was a good thing. At university, In Jiang was lost in a daze, looking at a photo from a field trip where he believed he had encountered an angel. In Jiang recounts in a touching way the moment he was rescued and cared for by that angel when he fell. In Jiang's excitement made Treo Sang and Bong Pa doubt his sanity. But in fact, the angel in the photo was Hui, whom In Jiang had accidentally seen through the camera lens. Hui Di felt extremely proud witnessing Jiang praising her. She constantly boasted about her beauty and kindness in front of Bong Pa. However, Bong Pa showed signs of displeasure and jealousy. Seo Rio's appearance at school with her arm still bandaged once again drew Bong Pa towards a senior. She expressed her gratitude for him being by her side at the hospital and offered to treat him to a meal. This made Hyung feel hurt and leave first. At the same time, the atmosphere in the classroom became heavy. When the teacher announced the sudden death of Hyung and encouraged students to attend the funeral, the police began a deeper investigation into Hyung's case. Detectives went to Hyung's office. To verify his schedule on the day of the crime, H-sung calmly presented an alibi. He was at the veterinary clinic the entire time. His perfect composure prevented the detectives from finding any flaws. Meanwhile, Bong Pa decides to make up for it by treating Hui to a delicious home-cooked meal of grilled meat and promising to take her to the amusement park tomorrow. The exorcism team receives a new mission at Samu Psychiatric Hospital, a notoriously creepy place that was closed 10 years ago due to allegations of patient mistreatment. Treo Sang and Injang are terrified by rumors of vengeful ghosts there, but are determined to make the trip to document the reality of entering the dilapidated and dark building. They faced a space filled with death. Bong Pa and Hui Di went deep into the inpatient treatment area together, where they discovered the existence of 8 imprisoned and forgotten patient souls. Unlike the usual fear spirits, the ghosts at Samuel Hospital appeared extremely weak and pitiful. They had no intention of attacking, but seemed to be pleading for help. Hui was the first to realize this through the desperate words written on the wall. She persuaded Bong Pa to stop destroying them and listen to the pain they had suffered. These patients were all orphans, mistreated until their deaths, and their remains were never found. Thanks to the guidance of the spirits, the exorcism team and the police found the hiding place of the remains of the unfortunate victims, giving them a chance to truly rest in peace. After leaving the mental hospital, Injang finally realized that her angel was the spirit that followed Bong Ba. She hesitantly expressed her admiration and gratitude to Hui, even trying to touch her. Although it was impossible to clearly see Injang's actions, Bong Pa was visibly annoyed. He quickly pulled Hui away to avoid attention. That night, Bong Pa kept his promise to take Hui back to the amusement park. Even though there was only time left to ride the Ferris wheel, Hui Jae still felt extremely happy. In the quiet space at the top of the Ferris wheel, Hui mustered up the courage to confess his feelings for Bong Ba. The unexpected confession stunned Bong Ba, while Hui immediately disappeared out of embarrassment. Awkwardness enveloped both of them in the following days. Hui tried to avoid Bong Ba while he didn't know how to act naturally around her. The next task was to exorcise an evil spirit in a cold storage warehouse, contrary to their awkwardness at home. When they started working, the two of them worked together seamlessly to easily subdue the evil spirit. To show their gratitude, Injang gave Hui Di a new pair of shoes. This made her very happy, but Bong Pa misinterpreted it as Hui Di hating high heels. This made her angry. At Hyung's clinic, detectives continue to find suspicious details from medical staff about his absence all night and his return with muddy shoes around the time of the crime. The truth about H-sung is gradually being revealed, but he is still very skillful at covering up his tracks. Even when meeting Bong Pa on the street, Hyung deliberately mentioned Hui's name as a subtle warning, which surprised Bong Pa, because she was just a spirit that ordinary people couldn't see. To break the awkward atmosphere, Hui Di played a game of rock paper scissors. The condition was that the winner would get one wish granted. She kept winning and finally made her wish. Bong Pa should forget her confession of love from the night before. Hui explained that she didn't want their relationship to become awkward and hoped to be with him longer as a colleague. Bong Pa, though confused, accepted her request. However, an unexpected incident occurred when Hui's body began to fade and she suddenly disappeared before Bong Pa's eyes. Panic overwhelmed Bong Pa when he realized he might lose her forever. He frantically searched and called her name everywhere, until he saw her reappear, exhausted. In that emotional moment, Bong Pa could no longer restrain his feelings. He hugged her tightly and affirmed her important place in his heart. Regardless of the barrier between humans and ghosts, after that anxiety-inducing event, Bong Pa began to show special concern for Hui Di. Upon returning home, he suggested that she sleep in his room from now on. Instead of lying on the living room sofa, he awkwardly gave the excuse that the weather outside was too hot and he couldn't stand the stuffiness, but in reality, he wanted to be close to protect her after the moment she almost vanished. Bong Pa's sincerity made Hui feel both warm and a little embarrassed. Meanwhile, at the police station, Detective Kim and Detective Y were intensely focused on Hai Sung's case file. Reports suggest this professor had a suspiciously perfect life. Hai Dung was orphaned at a young age after an accident and lived with his mother, then spent a long time living alone in a dormitory. Medical records show he suffered a very serious illness as a child. But since then, all of his personal records have been spotlessly clean. Hyung's absolute perfection in appearance, intelligence, and personality made Detective Kim feel uneasy. He decided to change his investigation method, focusing on locating his phone and tracking his car's movements on the nights his mother was murdered. A somber atmosphere pervaded Hui's funeral as it was held amidst a crowd of weeping people. Hae-dong appeared with his usual elegant and calm demeanor. He kindly comforted the grieving students, including On-shu, who had previously expressed feelings for the victim. Hae-dong skillfully played the role of an exemplary teacher, always concerned about the pain of others, but deep in his eyes was an unfathomable coldness. As the new day began, Bong-pa and Hui-di officially became a couple. They were a little shy at first, but gradually became more comfortable. At the exorcism club at the university, In-jang was still immersed in her infatuation with Angel Hui. He even ordered a premium grilled beef ribs meal to treat her to lunch, despite the ridicule of his close friend. When Bong-pa appeared at the club office alone, Wei-jang felt extremely disappointed that Angel wasn't with her. He began to inquire about Bong-pa's situation with a worried expression. Seizing the opportunity, Bong-pa asked Treo-sang for advice on how to attract a woman. Treo-sang immediately proudly imparted his secret of 11 steps of seduction, starting with displaying a masculine profile to subtly showcase his neck muscles and intelligent, high-nose bridge. Next is the technique of making deep eye contact to melt the other person's heart. And finally, using humor to bring laughter in the most difficult moments. Bong carefully memorized every word and began to awkwardly apply it to Hui. He deliberately struck a divine angled pose that made his neck stiff, then stared intently into Hui's eyes, making her think he had a vision problem. The jokes about the laughing apple or the world's poorest king were so bland that Hui-di couldn't help but wonder about Bong-ba's mental state. Even so, she still sensed his efforts and smiled at his sincerity. That evening, on the breezy rooftop, they both sat gazing at the starry sky. Bong-ba pointed out the constellation Aquila to Hui-di and told him the sad love story of Nyolang and Jinv, souls who could only meet once a year on the Silver River. In that romantic setting, Bong-pa invited Hui-di on a date the next day. It was a proposal that thrilled her. Before going to sleep, Hui-di playfully wished to see her in his dreams, leaving Bong-pa with a happy smile on her face. The date actually began with Hui-di eagerly preparing his appearance. She tried on many styles and finally appeared radiant next to Bong-pa. They experienced together the things that normal couples do, strolling around the city, stopping at clothing stores to choose beautiful dresses for Hui, and then going to the movie theater. Bong-pa thoughtfully reserved seats for couples and bought plenty of popcorn and drinks for both of them. Even though Hui was a spirit, Bong-pa didn't hesitate to go through all the formalities of a real date. Dinner took place at a restaurant with a rich menu, where Bong-pa was willing to spend lavishly so Hui-di could enjoy the best dishes. As they left the restaurant, it suddenly started raining heavily. Bong-pa took off her jacket to cover Hui-jae and held an umbrella over her, even though she herself was getting soaked. This warm act of protection made Hui-di feel truly loved and protected. At the same time, the police investigation made a breakthrough when they obtained images of Hyung's car passing through the toll booth. At dawn that day, after the victim Hae-hye's body was disposed of, Detective Kim immediately summoned Hae-sung to the station for questioning. Faced with evidence of his presence at Mount Wong, Hae-sung maintained a terrifying composure. He claimed that he was visiting his mother in that area and was willing to let the police verify it. However, an unexpected turn of events occurred when a male student, one of the witnesses on the list, was found dead at his home. At the scene, police found a suicide note admitting to failing his brother due to unrequited love, along with the victim's phone. This incident led superiors to order Detective Kim to close the case, although he still felt something was amiss behind this overly perfect coincidence. The next day, Bong-pa had a chance encounter with Professor Hae-sung at the veterinary clinic. Hae-sung made suggestive remarks about Bong-pa looking at someone with eyes full of love. This startled Bong-pa and made her more wary of the professor. Hui-di, preoccupied with chasing a puppy, entered Professor Hae-sung's office. He coldly and slowly approached Hui-di. At this moment, Bong-pa appeared and said he had to go home. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Hui-di left safely. Meanwhile, Master Jung Treo was still secretly investigating the death of Bong-ba's father. He found a videotape of Bong-ba's high school graduation ceremony on the 24th of date missing, a special date that coincided with the clues he was following. Old images resurfaced, making the monk feel a great threat gradually emerging around the flower. Professor Hyung's name appeared in that video. At the same time, the exorcism group received a request for help from a family. Their son, Shaman, was being haunted by the spirit of his ex-girlfriend. The girl's soul, overwhelmed with grief and resentment after her death, tried to strangle her former lover, causing him to constantly convulse and fall into a coma. Witnessing the scene, Bong Pa and Hui were heartbroken and realized the cruelty of unfulfilled love between two worlds. Hanging over warned Inge Zhang that humans cannot be near ghosts, otherwise it will lead to tragic consequences like Himen's case. However, Bong Pa frankly rejected those warnings. He affirmed to Hui Di that he didn't care about the laws of nature or people's objections to Bong Pa. The only thing that mattered was his current feelings for her. He was ready to face any difficulties to protect this love. Regardless of the thin line between life and death, the subtle confrontation between Master Zhang Treo and Hai Sung begins right in the veterinary clinic, where darkness and light intertwine in a conversation full of hidden meanings. Facing each other, a sense of familiarity from the distant past arises. Although they both denied ever meeting, the monk couldn't hide his suspicion when looking at this seemingly perfect man. While Hai Sung maintained a terrifying composure, even kindly inquiring about Bong Pa's well-being like a model teacher. The meeting ended in tense silence, leaving the monk Zhang with ominous premonitions. Meanwhile, Treo Sang and Zhang embark on a bizarre new business venture. They find a man who is so consumed by a fear of ghosts that he is completely exhausted. However, when Bong Pa appears and realizes the true identity of the ghost they are pursuing, it is just a former student of the school named Heiji, who is running away from debt and selling gemstones to make a living. The incident ended with Bong Pa refusing to accept the useless items in exchange for payment, leaving Zhang with a pile of unsold inventory and overwhelming disappointment. On the police side, Detective Kim continued to relentlessly pursue Hai Sung. He found inconsistencies in the forensic report. Regarding Minso's death, the student was believed to have committed suicide after losing a protruding tooth. Although the evidence at the scene pointed to a love-related crime, Detective Kim still sensed that the setup was too perfect. He decided to go with Detective Y to Hyung's mother's house to verify her testimony about the visit that night. Here, the frail old mother cannot remember the exact date her son visited, and Hyung's unexpected appearance at that house interrupted the interrogation. The professor's calmness and smooth answers in front of the police further increased Detective Kim's suspicion of a sophisticated assassination plot. The story of Suji Sol and the boy Himen opens a tragic chapter. Himen is living in extreme torment after his girlfriend's death. He frequently has nightmares and is attacked by an invisible entity. Every time they wake up, Bong Pa and Hui go to the place where Himen used to perform the ritual for his lover's remains and discover the heartbreaking truth. Suji is not an evil spirit wanting to harm people, but she is the one who has always been by Himen's side to prevent Himen from seeking death. The past comes back with fragments of memories about Himen's terrible brain tumor. While Himen was depressed, it was Suji who came to his side and gave him strength. Since then, their love blossomed. However, on the day Himen wanted to tell Suji the truth about his illness, she had a car accident on her way to the hospital. Since then, Himen has felt guilty about Suji's death. In that moment, Himen considered jumping into the deep lake to follow his lover. Bong Pa quickly jumped down to rescue Himen. Suji appeared before Himen. Suji convinced Himen to continue living for their beautiful memories before she vanished into thin air, leaving behind a promise of life and forgiveness. Witnessing the separation between humans and ghosts, both Bong Pa and Hui's moods became heavy. In Zhang, with a broken heart knowing that his angel already had a dream man, he was so distraught that he wanted to follow her, but in the end he could only sit and sob beside her. This unintentionally made Hui Di begin to worry about her own future and Bong Ba's. She wondered if one day they would also have to face such a painful separation. Bong Pa realized her insecurity and affirmed that the most important thing was the happiness of the present. He didn't want anxieties about the future to affect the feelings they shared. While searching for magical weapons to protect Bong Ba, Master Rang Treo recounted his encounter with Professor Hai Sung. The chilling sensation upon touching his hand terrified the master, making him realize that this was not an ordinary person but someone with extremely powerful evil spirit aura. He decided to go to Bong Pa's house to definitively resolve the issue. There, the monk found Bong Pa and Hui laughing and playing happily, a sight he had never seen in this lonely child for many years. However, the appearance of the young girl spirit beside Bong Pa enraged the monk. A heated argument broke out. The monk demanded that Bong Pa leave Hui immediately. The monk scolded Bong Pa, saying that his mother had died from an evil spirit, yet he had a romantic relationship with a female ghost. Hearing these words, Hui trembled. Bong Pa held her hand tightly, clearly showing her affection for Hui. Bong Pa had too many secrets that made Hui uneasy. The tragedy reaches its climax when the monk John the Baptist tries to speak privately with Hui. While Bong Pa is away, he reveals a cruel truth about Bong Pa's past. His mother was killed by an evil spirit right before her son's eyes. and a part of that evil spirit's energy still remains in Bong Pie's body, giving him the ability to see ghosts and causing him to be ostracized by others. The monk earnestly begged Hui to leave Bong Pa for his own safety and future. He asserted that a soul and a human being would never have a good ending. The monk's words were like daggers piercing Hui's heart, making her realize that she was a burden and a threat to the person she loved most. That day was Bong Bie's birthday. Despite having just had an argument with a monk, he still tried to bring back a cake to celebrate with Hui, though in pain, still tried to smile so that he wouldn't suspect anything. She suggested they go on a cruise to watch the fireworks on the Han River. In the shimmering light and the lively sound of fireworks, Hui Di looked at Bong Pa with eyes full of love and regret. She confessed that she wished him happiness and thanked him for being by her side all this time. While Bong Pa went to get water, Hui Di stood silently in the crowd. Tears rolled down her cheeks as she made her final decision. When Bong Pa returned with 2 bottles of water in his hands, he could no longer find any trace of Hui. He panicked and ran all over the ship, calling her name in despair. Bong Pie's cries of Hui's name echoed in the silent space. After Hui suddenly disappeared on the deck, Bong Pa fell into a state of panic and tried everything to find her, but to no avail. That very night, he went to see Master Zhang Treo to question him about Hui Dai's disappearance. The monk did not shy away but admitted that he had directly asked Hui to stay away from Bong Bie because he believed that a soul and a human being could never have a good outcome. Angered, Bong Pa loudly protested the monk's interference in her personal life, affirming her feelings for him despite all worldly obstacles. At the same time, another dark conspiracy was quietly unfolding on a secluded stretch of road known as Ju Road. An insurance manager was discussing the strange accidents that frequently occurred there at 2 a.m., where many drivers claimed to have seen ghosts appearing in the middle of the road. Meanwhile, Hai Zeng had arrived at the temple where Bong Pie's mother rested. Hai Dung declares that he will drop Bong Bie at the police station. Detective Kim and Detective Y are continuing to investigate Hai Zeng. After noticing unusual things about his family, at the scene of a burglary, Detective Kim notices that Hyung's mother is living alone and there are no photos of her with her son in the house. Although Hai Zeng was a successful and reputable woman, her aloofness and strange gaze towards her son when he visited home led Detective Kim to believe that there was a terrible secret between them that had not yet been revealed. He decided to delve into the case file of Hai Zeng's father's death from many years ago. Believing this to be the key to everything, Bong Pa was completely devastated after failing to find Hui. He searched all the places they had been to together.
Suddenly, Bong Pa saw Hui Yi.
As soon as she heard the call, Hui Di immediately disappeared. Bong Pa chased after him, grabbing his hand tightly. But for Hui, her leaving was good for Bong Pa. He used the harshest words to make Bong Pa leave. Although Hui Di had left Bong Pa, her spirit still lingered around her. Seeing him in distress, she couldn't help but feel sorry for him. But she remembered the monk's warning that her presence would harm the energy and future of the flower. She stood watching him from afar, tears falling silently as she saw him collapse from drunkenness. A while later, Injang and Treo Sang passed by. Since her heartbreak, Injang has gradually become withdrawn. Only Treo Sang realizes that both Bong Pa and Injang have feelings for Hui Jae. In an effort to help Bong Pa overcome her emotional trauma, Treo Sang organized a psychological training session at the club office. He explained the stages of psychological trauma from denial and anger to depression, and forced Bong Pa and Injang to participate in a new exorcism mission to relieve stress. This mission leads them to a haunted road, a place known for a series of mysterious accidents over the past 30 years. On the way, Injang continued to weep and insist on following Hui Di, which greatly annoyed Treo Sang. Monk Zhang Treo received important information from a familiar sorcerer about a young man who frequently loitered around the altar of Bong Bie's mother. Bong Bie's father confirmed this, and Monk Bang Hoang recognized him as Hai Zeng. The temple manager also revealed that 5 years ago, right before the university entrance exam, Jae-hun was extremely frightened when he saw this young man and had to run away immediately. Monk Zhang Treo began to piece together the fragments and realized that Hai Zeng was the one who had been chasing Cha Bong Pa for many years. In search of a mysterious item, Hui Di wanders the streets and accidentally witnesses an accident. A powerful flood of memories rushes back, reminding her of the moment she stood in front of this academy 5 years ago. Vague images of a horrific car accident gradually become clear in her mind, accompanied by the agonizing cries of her mother at the hospital. Immediately afterward, her soul is led back to Honu University Hospital, where she saw a familiar middle-aged woman step out. Hui Di Bang Hoang realized that the woman was her mother. Back with Bong Pie's group on the haunted road, the atmosphere became particularly tense as night fell. The car's electrical system suddenly malfunctioned, and the radio turned on, emitting terrifying crackling sounds. A dark figure suddenly darted out into the middle of the road, causing Treo Sang to slam on the brakes. The car spun around and crashed into the roadside. Treo Sang was terrified, thinking he had hit someone. Bong Pa got out of the car to check and noticed the presence of a vengeful evil spirit lurking in the fog. Bong Pa angrily charged straight at the evil spirit. He poured all his strength into defeating that evil spirit. At that moment, a car sped towards Bong Pa, and fate once again brought everyone together at the same point. Honu Hai Sung University Hospital had been there before and secretly hacked into Hui's medical records. He discovered she was still alive and being treated in the intensive care unit. At the same time, Hui Jae's soul was standing next to his own body. The pain almost made Hui collapse. The girl lying on the hospital bed with her breath maintained by the machine was her real body. A shocking truth was revealed. Hein Di was not a ghost who had died, but a soul that had been in a deep coma for the past 5 years. When Hui saw Bong Pa entering the hospital with Zhang hanging over her head to have her wound examined, she rushed after him. She tried to call his name and let him know that she was still alive, but the barrier between the two worlds still separated them. Tragedy struck when Hui's physical body suddenly went into shock and her heart stopped. Hung used his power to try to knock Hui down again. The heart monitor's prolonged alarm sounded, causing doctors and nurses to rush in and perform emergency resuscitation measures. Hui Jae's soul stood beside her, watching her body being electrocuted. She began to feel dizzy and in excruciating pain. Bong Pa saw Hui Dai's soul vanish in the blinding light of the emergency room. The doctors tried to save Hui Dai's heartbeat gradually stabilized after the doctor's efforts. Hui Dai officially woke up after 5 years in a vegetative state. She opened her eyes in astonishment, seeing her parents sobbing with joy beside her, completely unaware of the long journey her soul had taken all this time. Meanwhile, Bong Pa, exhausted after days of searching and suffering from psychological trauma, collapsed right at the hospital. He was taken to the recovery room for 4 fluids and vitamin supplements. While his 2 older brothers, Zhang and Hang Sang, anxiously stayed by his side, Hui began the first steps of his recovery process in his hospital room, but her memory was completely blank about the past 5 years. The doctor explained that temporary amnesia was a common side effect after a long sleep. Hui felt a headache trying to remember the accident, but her parents stopped her, hoping she would focus on her physical recovery instead of dwelling on unimportant fragmented memories. Master Zhang Treo continued his journey to uncover the truth about the dark forces haunting Bong Bie's family. He went to see a sorceress and was told about the existence of the second magical weapon. It turned out that before she died, Bong Bie's mother had asked a monk to prepare an additional special weapon to protect her son. This magical artifact is what Bong Bie's father had been searching for all this time, and it's also the reason why the evil spirit in Hyung's form is always lurking. Before chasing him away, Master Zhang Treo realized the danger was escalating. When he learned that the evil spirit considered the weapon a mortal threat to its existence, he hurriedly returned to the hospital to find Bong Bie. There, he encountered Treo Sang and Wei Zhang. After a heated questioning about involving Bong Pa in dangerous exorcism work, the monk punished the 2 men by severely scolding them, leaving them with no choice but to bow their heads in submission before he went to find a doctor. To check Bong Bie's health, Hui Di began the first physical therapy exercises to restore the mobility of her hands. Although the nerves were not seriously damaged, her muscles had significantly atrophied after years of immobility. The doctor encouraged her to practice simple actions like holding a spoon, using chopsticks, and practicing writing to stimulate dexterity. At the same time, while wandering around the inpatient area, Zhang accidentally saw the name Hui Dian on the nameplate of a hospital room. He was shocked to realize that the girl who had just woken up was the one Hang was looking for. This news quickly reached Bong Bie's ears as he had just woken up from a coma due to exhaustion, despite the fever still ravaging his body. Bong Pa rushed out of his hospital bed, ignoring all the objections of his seniors, to go to Hui's room. The moment of confrontation between Bong Pa and Hui took place in a sorrowful atmosphere. Bong Pa was filled with hope and emotion when he saw that she was still alive, but all he received in return was the young girl's unfamiliar and wary gaze. Hein didn't recognize Bong Pa at all. She was frightened by the stranger's eagerness and asked him to leave the room. The appearance of Hui's mother made the situation even more tense. Bong Pa had to apologize and withdraw in extreme pain when he learned that the girl he loved had completely forgotten all the memories between them. He stood silently in the hallway, listening to the nurse's conversation, and realized that Hui Di was no longer a wandering soul but a flesh and blood human being starting life anew from scratch. The relationship between Bong Pa and Master Zhang Treo softened a little. After he diligently cared for him and cooked porridge for him at home, Bong Pa proactively apologized for his earlier harsh words, which made the monk feel more at ease. However, Treo Sang and Injang did not give up on helping Bong Pa. They went to his house. Bringing new information about Hui's condition, they advised Bong Pa not to despair. Hui's amnesia is only temporary due to psychological trauma from the hit-and-run accident years ago. Injang even showed nobility by declaring that Hui's happiness is the most important thing and urging Bong Pa to be strong and stay by her side to take care of her during this difficult period. Detective Y and Detective Kim reopened the case file of CHA Hai Sung's accident that occurred 18 years ago. At the old scene, an apartment building, Detective Kim observed the height of the railing on the 15th floor and noticed something unusual for the height of an adult man. Accidentally falling over a railing higher than 1 meter is highly unlikely unless there was an impact from behind. Old testimonies indicate that at that time only the wife and the 13-year-old son, Hai Sung, were at home. Suspicions that Hai Sung had murdered his own father began to form in the minds of the detectives. They decided to put this professor under special scrutiny to investigate further into the true nature behind his polite appearance. At the hospital, Hui struggled to learn to walk in a wheelchair and began to get used to her surroundings. She coincidentally met Hai Sung again when he was participating in a volunteer pet therapy activity for pediatric patients.
He dùng approach Hui very naturally.
He showed thoughtful concern and shared his experience using a wheelchair to build trust. When he heard Hui recount his memory loss after the accident, a calculating look briefly appeared in Hai Sung's eyes, but he quickly concealed it with a gentle smile. Hui Jae's mother appeared and was very impressed by the professor's elegant appearance, while Hui also began to feel fondness for this man. Unaware that he was the one who had caused the accident 5 years ago, Bong Pa began a campaign to win back Hui Jae's heart. He appeared at the hospital room with his student ID to prove his identity and declared that he was her boyfriend. His stories about how they used to live together when she was a spirit made Hai Di think he was a psychopath. She kept pushing him away and threatening to call the police. But Bong Pa calmly left his phone number and promised to come back every day until she remembered. He even gave her personal items like a toothbrush and a pink water cup, exactly what she liked since childhood, causing Hui to begin to doubt his own memories when he realized those items were actually familiar. The next day, Bong Pa brought a homemade lunchbox with Hai's favorite dishes, such as grilled meat and egg rolls. Although she still refused verbally, the delicious taste of the food made Hui unable to resist. She ate while scolding Bong Pa for being a stalker, but strange feelings began to arise in her heart because of his attentive care. Bong Pa watched her eat with relish. He realized that whether human or ghost, Hui's passion for food remained unchanged. In an attempt to help Hui move back to his hospital room, Bong Pa unintentionally created an intimate situation where they almost kissed. This incident left Hui Di extremely embarrassed and angry. She scolded him, calling him crazy for almost stealing her first kiss. However, Bong Pa only smiled meaningfully because he knew that her first kiss had long belonged to him. When Hui Di returned to her room, she encountered a new nurse replacing the old doctor. But there was no doctor named Kim Ji-yu working there. The person bearing that name was actually a paramedic who had died 10 years earlier after accidentally killing many patients on the operating table. And now the demon has attacked Hai Hui. Just then, Bong Pa appears. He rushes forward, throws the evil spirit away, and then helps Hui Di stand up. The demon continues to attack Bong Pa, who protects Hui while fighting back against him. Bong Pa angrily throws a punch, causing the demon to disappear. He quickly runs to Hui's side, who is still in shock. Bong Pa quickly calls for a doctor to help. Meanwhile, Master Zhang secretly goes to Hai Sung's clinic and accidentally discovers Hui Dai's old student ID card hidden in a drawer. Hai Sung's sudden appearance forces the master to pretend to have entered the wrong room to escape. But both understand that the other has begun to grasp their secret. A cold warning is given to the master, implying that if he continues to interfere deeply in the man's affairs, the outcome will not be good. However, the hanging tooth remained unfazed. He responded with the Buddha's teachings on karma, asserting that those who sow hatred and evil will never find peace. Meanwhile, the investigation into Hyung's father's accident 18 years ago also took suspicious new turns. Police officer Kim went to meet Hyung's mother to verify the details. She insisted it was just an accident and brushed aside all questions. But her flustered demeanor and quick request for the police to leave suggest she was trying to protect some terrible truth. At the hospital, Hui Di had just experienced a mild shock and temporarily fallen into a coma. After seeing the strange images, when she woke up, her parents were extremely worried and constantly stayed by her mother's side. Because they were so afraid of the troubles their daughter might face after 5 years in a vegetative state, they were very strict about Bong Pa's presence. Bong Pa's persistence in helping Hui regain his memories was quiet but heartwarming. Every day, Bong Pa would text Hui to check on him, This made her gradually open up more. She directly met with Bong Pa and demanded that he not approach or bother Hein anymore, blaming his presence for endangering her daughter. Bong Pa, though heartbroken, still suppressed his emotions. He quietly observed her from afar and prepared a special gift to celebrate her discharge from the hospital. A fateful arrangement brought her closer to Hyung. The professor, appointed by the hospital, was the main person in charge of her psychological therapy. With his kind appearance and understanding, Hyung quickly won the trust of Hui Dai's mother and Hui Dai herself. He volunteered to drive her family home in his own car and help them unpack. Hui returned to her old room on the second floor, where her parents had completely redecorated it to match her memories, and displayed the birthday gifts they had bought for her. Throughout the year she was hospitalized, seeing the boundless love of her family, Hui Dai secretly promised to become a good daughter. She would study hard to make up for the lost time. At home, Master Zhang Treo, although outwardly grumbling about Bong Pa's excessive devotion, was secretly worried about the future of the two children. He advised Bong Pa that sometimes Hui's inability to recall her past memories might actually be a good thing for her, because the days spent wandering between life and death with evil spirits were a nightmare no one wanted to remember. He believed that if he truly loved her, Bong Pa should let her live a normal life as a human being, instead of dragging her back into the world of ghosts. At the same time, the two senior members of the Exorcism Club, Treo Sang and Injang, were also not sitting idly by. They felt extremely guilty and sorry for Bong Pa and Hui's situation. Instead of just standing by, they decided to use their abilities to help by posting a notice on online forums seeking witnesses to the hit-and-run accident from years ago. However, realizing that posting online wasn't very effective, they came up with the idea of printing large banners and flyers to hang in the area where the accident happened years ago. Although this was illegal and led to them being apprehended by the vendors and taken to the police station, this righteous act inadvertently connected them with Detective Kim, providing valuable information about Hui's case. Despite his mother's objections, Hui felt a strange urge. Whenever she thought about Bong Pa, she secretly exchanged messages with him and decided to go to the university to listen to Hyung's lecture. There, she met Bong Pa again along with two strange seniors. When she saw Bong Pa introduce himself as just an auditing student in front of others, Hui Dai felt a little disappointed and angry because he had previously claimed to be her boyfriend. The appearance of Seo Rio, the girl Bong Pa once secretly admired, further fueled Hui's indescribable jealousy. The climax came when Seo Rio mustered the courage to confess her feelings to Professor Hai Sung, only to be coldly rejected. That evening, Bong Pa was invited out for drinks by her senior, Seo Rio. In a drunken state, worried about his senior's safety, he stayed to take care of her and intended to take her home. When Hui called Bong Pa, his senior, Seo Rio, answered the phone. This made Hui jealous. She immediately rushed to the pub. She questioned Bong Pa about why he had changed his feelings so quickly, especially since just yesterday he had claimed to be her boyfriend. Hui's emotionally charged reproaches were actually an acknowledgement that she was beginning to have feelings for him. Realizing this, Bong Pa smiled happily. He decided to take a bold step by kissing her right there, leaving Hui Dai extremely flustered. She kicked Bong Pa in the leg, then threw away the medicine she had bought for him and left. However, Bong Pa shamelessly followed Hui. He asked her to bandage his wound, then gave her an exquisite necklace as a gift to celebrate her discharge from the hospital. Under the dim streetlights, Bong Pa personally put the necklace on Hui, affirming that she was the only one in his heart. Bong Ba's sincerity and warmth truly touched Hui's heart, causing her to agree to become his girlfriend. At home, Hui was alone when he suddenly heard strange sounds. A vengeful spirit appeared in the living room, attacking and terrifying her. Hein Di believes that her ability to see spirits, the energy from evil spirits remaining in her body after the accident, has officially returned. Terrified, Hein Di calls for help. Bong Ba arrives just in time, embracing her and reassuring her that no matter what happens, he will always be there to protect her. They didn't know that Professor Hai Dung was secretly monitoring Hui Di, while at the police station, Detective Kim, during a review of vehicle records, discovered a shocking detail. Hai Dung had owned a white S-Class car 5 years prior. Notably, he had destroyed that car just 2 days after Hui Dai's accident. This timing coincidence is undeniable evidence. It shows that he is the hit-and-run culprit.
Bong Pa gently reassured Hui.
Bong Pa understood that extreme fear because he himself had experienced a similar feeling. As a 5-year-old child, he recalls the haunting days of his childhood when he could only sob and tremble before terrifying entities. Until the monk with the hanging teeth appeared, he taught him that fear always exists within each person. But instead of running away, people need to bravely face it. Bong Pa promises to always be there to protect and support Hui Di. However, deep down, Bong Pa still harbored the intention of helping Hui escape this condition. He sought out the monk Zhang Treo, expressing his desire to find every way to cure her eyes, even willing to do anything to earn the money to pay for it. The monk reassured her that this might just be a temporary side effect as her memories were gradually returning after 5 years in a coma, and that everything would stabilize once she fully recovered. The next morning, Hui Di had an appointment with Hyung at the hospital to continue her psychological therapy. The professor skillfully incorporated advice on dealing with psychological trauma, while subtly probing into her fragmented memories. Hui Di had just returned when she mentioned that she seemed to have recalled details related to the accident. A dangerous glint flashed in Hai Dung's eyes, but he quickly masked it with a gentle expression. The conversation unfolds with hidden meanings as Hai Sung begins to realize the fated connection between Hui and Bong Ba through the girl's innocent answers about their chance encounter, as if it were a preordained event. Bong Ba decides to take Hai shopping for sportswear to prepare for a special plan. He asks 2 senior members of the club to help train Hui in self-defense skills. Master Zhang Treo had previously secretly met with these 2 young men, assigning them the important task of always closely monitoring and protecting the 3 men, and reporting immediately. If they detected any unusual signs from Hung at the training room, they would hang over him. As an outstanding student in the physical education department, Hui had directly instructed him in martial arts techniques while hanging over him, simulating attacks for Hui to practice his reflexes. Unexpectedly, Hui, with the instincts of a black belt martial artist from before the accident, unleashed deadly blows that caused his senior to collapse on the spot. This incident not only demonstrated Hui's hidden fighting ability but also helped to create a closer and more cheerful atmosphere between them. Although she still hasn't fully recalled the time she worked as an exorcist with them. While the young people were busy with their own plans, a shocking event occurred in the Yangdu mountain region. Local police inform monk Zhang Treo about the discovery of a body that had been buried for at least 2 months. Zhang Treo immediately sets off to confirm the identity and is shocked to realize it is Jahoon, the father of Bong Ba Hayu, found with numerous bruises and a broken neck. The signs indicate a brutal murder, not a fall from a mountain as initially believed. The monk is in utter pain thinking about Bong Pa having to face this truth. He requests that the police transfer the body to Seoul for autopsy to find conclusive evidence of the perpetrator. News of the discovery of Mr. Park's body quickly spreads on television. This forces Zhang Treo to return and confront Bong Ba, standing before the poor child. The monk, suppressing his grief, delivers the sad news. Bong Pa is stunned into silence by his father's death. Mr. Jun's funeral was held in a somber atmosphere. Bong Pa finally appeared beside his father's coffin, his heart filled with remorse and sorrow. Belated tears fell. When he realized his father had passed away long ago, the monk saw the message Hui had sent, so he told her about Bong Pa's situation. Coincidentally, Hui Dio, the monk Hai Sung, was there at the time. She asked him to rush to the funeral. As soon as he saw Bong Pa, Hui approached him. Bong Pa was surprised to see her there. Hui Di comforted him as she passed by Bong Pa's father's coffin, a memory from 5 years ago resurfacing. She recalled that fateful afternoon 5 years ago at a temple where she coincidentally met Bong Pa's father. At that time, Mr. Park, in a state of panic and fear of being pursued, urgently asked her to deliver a mysterious item to his son along with an address in Seoul. He instructed her to absolutely not let anyone see this item. It was this offer of help that brought Hui into Hai Sung's sights, leading to the tragic accident that left her in a coma. Hui was shocked to realize that she held the key to everything. However, she still couldn't remember where she had hidden the important magical artifact. She recounted this to Master Zhang Treo, making him even more worried about her safety knowing that Hai Sung was lurking nearby. At this moment, Hai Dung appeared at the ceremony with a feigned expression of sympathy. The man's presence caused the toothless monk to lose his composure. A tense, face-to-face confrontation erupted right in front of the funeral hall. The monk exposed Hai Sung's true identity, asserting that he was the vessel of the evil spirit he had failed to eliminate 18 years earlier. After escaping from Bong Pa's body, this evil spirit possessed Hai Sung, causing the death of Bong Pa's mother and now his father. Hai Sung not only showed no fear but brazenly admitted to the act of causing the deaths, even threatening to take away the lives of both Bong Pa and the monk. If they continue to obstruct her, the man clearly reveals his intention to seize an important item that Mr. Park risked his life to protect. Pressure from her family also weighs heavily on Hui's shoulders as her mother decides to sell the house and move back to her hometown to live with her father in order to separate her from the troubles in Seoul. Hui's mother believes that Bong Pa is the source of the strange occurrences and wants her daughter to have a normal life, study, and take the university entrance exam like everyone else. Hui faces a difficult choice between his love for Bong Pa and his duty to his family. She goes to his apartment to say goodbye, but Bong Pa doesn't open the door. Hui tells him to wait for her return, and along with that, she tells him to wait. Detective Kim and Detective Y have gathered decisive forensic evidence. The autopsy results of Mr. June showed traces of a male's DNA under the victim's fingernails, proving a fierce struggle before death, which perfectly matched. Hyung's group is also a distorted group because the fabricated alibis from before are starting to be exposed, and the strange connection between him and the victims in other cases is beginning to be revealed. The police decide to request an arrest warrant for this professor. However, Hyung has already taken a step ahead. He constantly contacts Hui under the guise of therapy, deliberately separating her from the protection of Bong Pa and the police. The man lured her to a secluded area under the pretext of walking her dog, Happy, in order to carry out his final plan. Bong Pa was shocked to hear the detective announce that Hai Dung was directly involved in his father's death. At the same time, Master Zhang Treo revealed to him the evil nature of the professor and the threat he posed to Hui Di. Pain piled upon pain as Bong Pa realized that the evil spirit was not only targeting him but also threatening the life of Hui Ji, who currently held the item it craved to possess. Master Zhang Treo slowly turned back the pages of painful memories. Regarding Bong Pa's deceased mother, to explain the origin of the mysterious artifact, Bong Pa's mother possessed a powerful psychic ability, a natural gift, but also a nightmare for a woman who only wanted to live a normal life. When pregnant with Bong Pa, she resolutely rejected the divine role to protect her son. This angered supernatural forces and caused the evil spirit to seek to possess his body even before he was born. To prevent this long-term threat, she used all her energy and life force to create a second magical artifact. This was to prevent the evil spirit from returning. This item is what Bong Pa's father desperately protected and then entrusted to Hui at the temple 5 years ago. Just before her tragic accident, Bong Pa was consumed by guilt knowing that both her parents and Hui were suffering because of his existence. But the monk reassured her and urged her to act to save Hui before it was too late. While Bong Pa frantically tried to contact Hui in vain, Hai Sung began to carry out his cruel plan. He imprisoned Hui in a secluded place, using his cold demeanor to force her to remember the location of the hidden magical artifact. Fragmented memories of the accident from years ago begin to flood Hein Jae's mind, making her realize the professor's terrifying true face. At the same time, at Hui's apartment, her mother is extremely worried because her daughter hasn't returned home. Bong Pa appears there but can't find her. He realizes Hai Sung has left first. 2 senior students, Hang Sang and In Jiang, who were instructed by the monk to keep an eye on Hai Sung, have secretly followed his car. They witnessed the professor transporting a large object, then changing vehicles along the way. When the security guard spotted the suspicious person, the professor immediately knocked the guard down. As soon as he approached to check the guard, Treo Sang and In Jiang quickly escaped before being discovered. The police investigation also entered a critical phase. When Detective Kim confirmed H. Sung's disappearance, he had prepared thoroughly by giving all clinic staff time off and turning off their phones to cut off any tracking. However, with his keen insight and technological skills, In Jiang made a crucial breakthrough. He accessed the data system of the Kahung had abandoned, recovering the longitude and latitude coordinates from the hard drive's memory. These dry numbers led Bong Pa's group to a dilapidated old warehouse area, considered an ideal hiding place for dark schemes. Bong Pa decided to venture into danger himself to find Hwj. Although Master Zhang tried to stop him, fearing that the evil spirit would once again target his body, when they arrived, the professor had already kidnapped Hein Di, leaving only a phone lying on the floor. At the police station, to understand the origin of the darkness in the professor's soul, the mother admits that all the tragedy began with her resentment towards her husband and her past neglect of her son. Hai Dung was a boy who had suffered much trauma, and the bitter resentment of witnessing family violence created a deep wound that allowed the evil spirit to possess him. The evil spirit exploited the boy's pain to harm his father and gradually devoured Hai Dung's humanity, transforming the evil spirit and the evil spirit into a single entity. The mother collapses in tears of belated remorse while the monk understands that he must end this deep-seated conflict. Using his remaining spiritual energy, Hai Sung takes Hein Di to the train station. Hai Sung no longer maintains his false gentlemanly demeanor but reveals his true nature as a cold, twisted demon. He ruthlessly kills the station employee in front of Hui Jie. He used Hui Dai's mother's life to threaten her, forcing her to reveal the location of the magical artifact. Although trembling with fear, Hein Jie tried to maintain her composure. She realized that the artifact was her only hope of protecting Bong Ba. Just as the evil spirit was about to strike, Bong Ba's group reached the old subway station area. They realized an important detail. The current train station had been rebuilt after a fire 5 years ago. This meant that the location where Hui kept hiding the item was in the area of the old station, which had been sealed off. Their initial confusion about their location was quickly resolved thanks to Yun's memory, and the group arrived at the dark and gloomy tunnels beneath the dilapidated subway station. The confrontation between good and evil finally erupted. Hai Sung found Hui and cornered her. Just as she was about to touch the magical artifact hidden in an old locker, Bong Pa appeared and rushed in to stop the evil spirit and protect Hui. But Bong Pa was no match for him. The evil spirit easily overpowered Bong Ba, beating him mercilessly until he collapsed to the ground. The evil spirit laughed arrogantly, declaring that it had been waiting for this moment for a long time to return and possess Bong Ba's body as soon as it was about to defeat him. Master Zhang Treo also arrived just in time. He used all his magical power to confront the evil entity. A fierce spiritual battle takes place in the cramped space of the tunnel, where the monk tries to use his sword to subdue the evil spirit. But the demon in Hai Sung's body is too powerful. The wounds from the blows quickly heal. The monk with the missing teeth is severely wounded, and Bong Pa rushes to rescue him, but he is once again struck by Hai Sung. Even with 2 people working together, they were no match for him. The monk insisted that Brother Di retrieve his weapon. He understood that if the evil spirit couldn't be destroyed right now, the lives of everyone would be in danger. In this critical moment, the evil spirit unleashed a decisive blow aimed at killing the 3 flowers. Master Zhang Treo began pouring his blood onto the sword, a single thrust piercing the evil spirit. The evil spirit screamed in pain, but that wasn't enough to completely defeat him. The evil spirit began to reveal his true form. The master rushed to protect Bong Pa, but it was too late. The evil spirit pierced through the master's body. Bong Pa witnessed his closest loved one fall, and anger and grief drove him to confront the demon. At this moment, Hein Di found a weapon and threw it towards Bong Ba. Just as the evil spirit rushed to attack him, Bong Ba used all his strength to throw a punch at the evil spirit. The power of the weapon finally defeated the demon. The terrifying battle at the old subway station ended. Amidst the chaos of bricks, stones, and dust, Bong Ba rushed to Master Zhang Treo's side. As he lay slumped on the cold ground, his breath coming in ragged gasps after exhausting all his magical power to repel the evil spirit, Bong Pa's desperate cries echoed through the dark space. His trembling hands grasped the monk's shoulders, fearing that his closest relative would be gone forever. Hui also rushed over in shock, his face still showing the terror from the confrontation. Fortunately, after moments of suffocating silence, Master Zhang Treo stirred slightly. He pleaded with Bong Pa to loosen his grip as he felt suffocated. Meanwhile, Hai Dung, who had just escaped the evil spirit's control, lay motionless nearby. Her face now showed only emptiness and gauntness. The police and detectives stormed the scene, quickly subdued and escorted Hai Sung away. His gaze swept over Bong Ba's group, no longer bearing the coldness of tar, but only the guilt of a man who had lost himself. Detective Y and Detective Kim silently observed. They knew that although Hai Sung was also a victim of possession, the crimes he had committed in reality were undeniable. The monk with the hanging teeth watched his retreating figure, softly lamenting the cycle of hatred and karma, emphasizing that once the heart is filled with resentment, evil spirits will always find a way in. Returning to reality, peace gradually returned, but also brought with it unavoidable separations. After witnessing her daughter repeatedly facing danger, Hui's mother decided to take her away from Seoul the very next day. She didn't hesitate to express her strong opposition. Regarding Hein Dai's continued relationship with Bong Pa, standing at the door, Bong Pa silently bowed his head in apology. He understood that a mother's feelings were completely justified. Despite Hein Dai's efforts to protect him, Bong Pa decided to take a step back so she could start a normal life again. He sent her a small gift through her mother, as a silent message of waiting for the future. At the police station, Hai Dung faced the sentences for his previous crimes, admitting to all charges without resistance, because in his mind, those actions were nurtured from the resignation in his heart. Long before the evil spirit actually struck, the meeting between Hai Sung and his mother in prison took place in painful silence. She promised to visit him every day until she received forgiveness. Meanwhile, Hai Sung could only bow his head and beg her not to return, because her presence only intensified the pain and guilt within him. He wanted to bear all the punishment himself to atone for the mistakes he had made against innocent people. Time passed quickly, and each person's life gradually settled into a new trajectory. Bong Pa returned to university. He still maintained his habit of cooking and taking care of Master Zhang Treo. The monk is now much weaker after the final battle. He still maintains his optimistic personality, enjoys sausages and mild soju, and doesn't forget to remind Bong Pa about studying. Meanwhile, in a remote rural area, Hui Di is diligently preparing for her high school graduation and university entrance exams. She dedicates all her time to books, determined to make up for the 5 years lost in a coma. Despite the geographical distance, the bond between them was never broken. They silently followed and encouraged each other through short but heartfelt text messages. Everything changed when the 2018 university entrance exam ended. When Bong Pa asked about her exam results, Hui Di sadly said she had failed. Bong Pa smiled and encouraged her, saying he would wait for Hui. At school, Bong Pa has changed. He's more sociable with everyone instead of avoiding them like before. Conversely, Treo Sang and Injang's exorcism club is in serious crisis. Injang has graduated and is struggling to find a job, while Treo Sang is grappling with recruiting new members for his exorcism club. The club office is dilapidated, dusty, and facing the risk of being reclaimed by the school. Due to a lack of activity and personnel, Treo Sang tries to persuade Bong Pa to take over as president, but he always refuses, wanting to focus on graduating and finding a stable job to secure his future. Injang even has to use the money invested by his grandmother to keep the club running. Today is the freshman orientation day, and Bong Pa was dragged along by her friends to attend. Everyone was talking about a very pretty new student, but Bong Pa didn't care, until Hui unexpectedly appeared at the party, wearing a beautiful and radiant dress, walking into the crowd and attracting the attention of all the male students. As Bong Pa sat quietly in a corner, he was stunned to see Hui appear and declare himself his girlfriend in front of everyone. The surprise turned into overwhelming happiness as Bong Pa realized she had truly passed all the exams to be by his side. The two spent sweet moments together on campus, leaving behind the weary days of waiting. However, Hui's student life wasn't all rosy. She quickly became caught up in the vibrant lifestyle of young people, including participating in group blind dates with her friends in the department. When Bong Pa learned that Hein Jae was going on blind dates with male business administration students but lied about doing homework at a cafe, he was furious. He immediately went to the cafe to escort her home. Hui admitted that she only wanted to experience all aspects of student life that she had missed for so long. Although annoyed, Bong Pa couldn't resist her adorable and coquettish actions. To formalize their relationship, Bong Pa decided to confront Hui's mother once again. When she came to Seoul to visit her daughter, he mustered up the courage to stand before her, expressing his sincerity and his desire to officially take care of Hui. Thanks to Bong Pa's persistence and her daughter's unwavering support, Hui's mother finally smiled and agreed. She realized that Bong Pa wasn't a troublesome boy, but an outstanding, responsible young man who genuinely loved her daughter. This acceptance was like a burden lifted, allowing the young couple to confidently move forward together. The Exorcism Club was revived with a new office and a name that held a deeper meaning about life. Injang takes on the role of counselor, always on standby by the phone to receive requests for help. An urgent call about a ghost appearing in an apartment prompts the whole group to set off. Bong Ba Hui, Treo Sang and Injang walk together under the bright sunshine of a new day.